Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel and welcome to the first match preview of the 2025 season. It is a practice match. It's against Carlton and it's at Icon Park at 11 a.m. on Saturday. It may be moved. It may be moved depending on the weather. I know the North Melbourne practice game at Arden Street is now moved to 10 a.m. because of the heat. So I'm curious if we're going to make that call with Carlton to move it to 10 a.m. But we'll see what happens there on that front. But at the moment, it is at Icon Park, 11 a.m. against the Blues. They're going to be missing some players. I believe Walsh and Curnow are definitely not going to play. And for us, we've got a host of players that we're not going to be able to see on the weekend in Rowan Marshall, in Max King, in Dougal Howard, in Liam Henry, in Mateus Philippou. I'm probably missing a couple. Jack Sinclair as well on top of that. Tyroo. So there's a number of players that we're not going to be seeing. But what we care about is the players that are going to be running out on the weekend. And it's pretty much the rest of the list we're going to be going through. Normally in this practice game, they're going to circulate through a lot of players. And then against Port Adelaide the week after, they kind of refine it for more a round one sort of curtain raiser. And then obviously round one in a fortnight after that on the 16th of March. So on the weekend, it's a great setup. I mean, to be honest, the two practice games, you got Carlton, who are a team that everyone believes has a list of a top four team. Haven't quite got there yet, but they're building towards it. And then obviously Port Adelaide next week at RSCA, who are just consistently a top 5, top 6 team. So we're testing ourselves against some good opposition. I did read online that some supporter bases, believe that these practice games, the teams don't show their game plan. But I want to see what we've been working on. That's the whole point of the weekend's game, is to hone in on our craft, to see exactly what's been going on. And from what I've been told, Brendan Bolton's come in and shared some new ideas about the way we want to go about it in terms of attack, in terms of our intensity going forward inside 50. And I want to see that, especially with no Max King on the weekend. Harry Boyd's probably going to be in the ruck as well. Max Heath's going to have to stand up and put his hand up. Isaac Keeler, again, a big question mark on him. What's he going to do? Is he going to play a bit of ruck? He's probably going to start back. Caminiti, that's another big one. On potentially Harry Mackay if he plays. So for me, I'm going to be very curious about the backline because we're losing, obviously, we lost Josh Battle to Hawthorn. Dougal Howard's not fit. There's, exciting question marks on players like Caminiti. Can he be the fullback that we're missing? Ari Schoenmaker at sort of halfback, running halfback. I've heard rumours that he could be maybe playing further up the ground than what we think. I mean, imagine him at half forward marking the ball. He's either going to hit the player on the lead or he's going to go along and kick a goal from 70. So there's a lot of, Travalia, Boxall, who Cal Wilkie said on the radio only a couple of days ago, he's the player that's really jumped out to him and surprised in how good he's been at training. Darcy Wilson in his second season. Firmly don't believe we're going to be getting any second season blues from him. He's going to be coming out and literally hitting the ground running because that's all that bloke does. He just doesn't stop running and burns the opposition into the ground. So it's just super exciting to go to the footy again. I love driving down from my place down to Icon Park. We've done it a couple of times. I remember, I think it was not last year, but maybe the year before, and I think we lost, maybe, in a practice game. I remember that. And it was good vibes. And then years before that, I remember we went there and spanked them by like 96 or something, and Josh Bruce kicked 6 or 7. And that was kind of, it might have been start of 2016 or 17 when we thought, oh, well, maybe this list is starting to click. And turns out we were a bit wrong there. But there is a lot to take from these games. I don't look at these. I used to kind of look at these games and go, can we just skip over this and get to the main stuff? But when you've got a young list like us, the third or fourth youngest in the competition, as Joey mentioned in our season preview the other day, it's really important that these players kind of test themselves. Hugo Garcia didn't mention, but he's going to be in the guts for this game, most likely. No Philippou, Jack McRae, seeing how he blends in with the rest of the team. So it's really important that we have these games because there's only so much you can do in intra-club. And then you've got round one. So in between, you need to be honing every possible facet of the game plan and obviously your own footballing ability to kind of refine that before the main stuff, the real stuff starts. So I'm absolutely pumped. The key takeaways in this game for me, I want to see just better ball movement out of clearance, because that's obviously been... It's basically whatever we sucked at last year and the last couple of years, that's what I want to see some improvement on. I don't expect the back line... I mean, obviously it's a question with Josh Battle and Doogs missing, but I don't think there's going to be too much in terms of groundbreaking changes in the back half. Depending on, Naz and what Ari does there, because Sinks isn't going to be playing. Let's see how Naz goes as being the main man as the rebounder. Usually he's got a support act, but he doesn't have that. He's going to have to be the main guy, and I think he's getting to that point where he believes in himself enough that we all think he's going to be A grade, so I'm excited there. But it's the midfield. It's always the midfield for us. What does Jack Macrae add to it? Liam Stocker's been training through there a little bit in the preseason. Hugo Garcia obviously will be going through there quite a bit now with Filippo out for a number of weeks. We need to improve that part of the game. Not just getting it out cleaner, but obviously what we do once we get it out and how that forward line functions leading up to the ball. So that's on Cooper Sharman. There's no King. There's no Membry. It's on Cooper Sharman on the weekend. Mitch Owens as well, the enigma of the team. I've said that word way too much recently, but he is. We don't really know what the ceiling is for this guy, but we all thought, could he be a midfielder? Clearly, that's not really the case in the preseason from what I've seen. He's very much been high half forward and forward pocket, crashing packs, kicking goals. His set shot kicking has looked like it's improved, which is great. And then there's Jack Higgins, Dan Butler, and those sort of guys kind of circling around. So we're missing a couple of key cogs, in each part of the ground. Battle Doogs in the back half, Rowan Marshall in the midfield with Filippo, obviously, and then Max King and obviously the absent Tim Member, who's at Collingwood now, in the forward half. So it's an opportunity for some players to really stand up and stake their claim for a round one slot in the next 2 weeks. Could Toby hit the ground running and have a couple of really good games and debut? We've seen Darcy Wilson play every game last season, Filippo the year before that. So Ross Lyon is obviously inclined to give as many games to the deserving youth players as we can. So if Boxall surprises, I don't know if Barrett's going to play. I didn't see him at training back into last week, so I don't know if there's anything going on there. But it's just an opportunity. We want to see improvement. I'm always curious, the mindset of a fan going into these games. If we belt Carlton, what's Carlton's approach? What's their fan base going to be thinking? Are they going to be panicking? I think they might be. I don't know. I just think that's, they demand such a high standard from that team. But on the flip side, if we get belted by 10 goals, I think it's the same. I think we're all going to be scratching our heads going, it's a pracky game, but let's hope we don't carry that through to Port. So it's always the result kind of counts. Obviously, if the method's there and we can obviously identify, that's the way we want to play, and it just didn't come off because it's the first time we're implementing it in sort of a competitive format, that's cool, but we don't want to be getting... I think Ross just doesn't want to lose, full stop, to be honest. From what I've seen of Ross and what we've seen of the teams over the years that he's coached, they're out there to compete pretty much every single week. In terms of this, Icon Park, I'm absolutely excited to get stuck into this football content again. I think Carlton are going to be an interesting team to keep an eye on. Jagger Smith in the midfield for them is going to be very, very important. I don't think it's going to be any sort of major head-to-heads. Probably steal the Crips. And then, Macrae would have gone to maybe Walsh and then Jagger. I'd love to see Garcia and Jagger go at it, but I almost think Garcia deserves put him on a senior player just to get that proper experience. He's training with them in Macrae and Steele, but put him up against a Cripps or one of the more senior midfielders of Carlton that will be going through there and see how he goes. Because I think he's the sort of player that will live up to that challenge. And that'll just fast track his development even more. But we are missing some players, but I think there's definite like for likes, in terms of competition. I wrote a list the other day. Let me just quickly check it. For the players that were missing and who, the depth-wise, who can basically replace them. So there's, Sharman for King, Boyd for Marshall, Travalia for Wood. Obviously, Mason Wood won't be... I don't think he'll be playing. Garcia for Filippo, Caminiti for Howard, and maybe Max Hall for Henry. So those are kind of my like-to-likes in terms of who's missing from this game and who's going to be playing basically in that position and replacing that injured player or missing player. So Max Hall's one that quietly has been going about his business in the preseason training and obviously in intra-club hitouts. He's kicked a couple of really good goals. He looks like he's a very physical player, but he's got a bit of explosiveness to him, and he's quite clean on the ball. So we talk about all the draftees, McRae we're bringing in, and the players that we've lost, but we forget Max Hall we got a while back. He hasn't debuted yet, but he's been quietly going about his business, built into Sandy in the VFL last season, back end, and gradually got better and better. Output from himself, and now potentially there could be a chance where if he plays a couple of good weeks coming up, he might be in with a shout as a midfield spot for St Kilda in round 1 against the Crows. So I'll wrap it up there, saying as that is my little match preview / just my thoughts on the game. Like I said, if they do bring the time back, I will let you know. If they've done it at Arden Street, I don't know why they wouldn't do it in our game. But I think there's VFL after us as well, so there might be a factor there. But just to remind you, it is Carlton at Icon Park, 11 a.m. as it stands. It is going to be live streamed, I believe, on KO. Not sure about Fox Footy, but definitely on KO. So if you don't get to go to the game, there will be a stream online, and I'll be doing my usual review after the game, as well as all the other content post-game as well. So we're straight into it, even if it's a pracky. It's footy content, and I'm absolutely excited to get back into it. And we know how last season ended against Carlton, so kicking it off again this season in a pracky. Let's go out. Let's see what the boys have got. Let's see that improvement that we really, really want to see and that we need to really bridge the gap on those top 6, top 7 teams above us. And let's get the win as well while we're at it. So yeah, thanks again, Saners. Put your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you want to take out of this game. What are you excited to see? Win or loss, pracky games, results not always the be-all, end-all. But what do you want to walk away and think, yeah, I saw that. I'm pretty happy. Bring on Port the next week. So put that in the comments. Obviously, subscribe. We're about 400 off 13,000. So if you could support that. And obviously, we've got the Lee Montagna season preview out. So check that out if you haven't already. And the final plug is for the Saints TV tipping. Check out the website. It's a $15 entry, weekly prizes, grand prize. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join that if you can as well. So thanks again, Sainers. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.